Hey guys, welcome back to AdamsFam. It's just me, Paige, today. I'm going to do a teen pregnancy Q&A. I'll be answering questions that have gotten asked to me through Instagram and other ways. So, we'll get started. I'm just going to be telling you my experience with getting pregnant at 17 and having to tell my friends and family and all of that stuff. If you've been following my Instagram, you could kind of probably catch on that I got pregnant before we got married. And we really wanted to hide it from people until after the wedding, because we wanted to be just Jackson and I for a little bit before people started thinking about us as a family instead of us as a couple. I'm going to tell you first what we thought and how I told important people in my life, like my parents, and how Jackson told his parents and stuff. I'll just get started, I guess. So it was in really late April last year. I missed a period, and obviously that means that you probably maybe are pregnant. So I took a pregnancy test, and it said I was pregnant, and I didn't believe it at first. I was kind of in denial, and I really didn't believe it until I had my first ultrasound. After I took that first pregnancy test, I called Jackson right after, and I told him, and he was just like, oh my gosh, okay, kind of in disbelief too. He decided to tell his dad that day. I waited until the next day to tell my mom, and I told her first. We were going grocery shopping, and I said, I think I might be pregnant. And she said, oh, okay, what makes you think that? And I said, well, I took a pregnancy test and it said I was pregnant. So then we kind of talked about that for a little bit, and kind of what my life would look like now that I was expecting a baby. So the day after I told my mom, Jackson and I got together to tell my dad. He thought that it would be more respectful to come with me when I told my dad that I was pregnant. My parents' reactions, they were definitely surprised. I was always a rule follower. I didn't start dating until I was 16, and Jackson was the first person I kissed. I didn't give out hugs and kisses. I wasn't super affectionate in that way, so it kind of surprised them. And being a member of the LDS church, it is very frowned upon if you have relations before marriage. I talked to my mom about it. I wasn't sure about prenatal stuff or when I needed to go to the doctors first, so she talked me through all that stuff, and they were always supportive from the beginning. And I remember them telling me that whatever my decision was, they were going to support me. Abortion was never something that I thought of. It didn't even come across my head. And neither was adoption, really. I have always wanted to be a mom, and so I didn't want to give up Bria. I felt like I could give her the same quality of life as another family could give her. And it would be harder for me because I wouldn't have a college education, and I wouldn't be in a marriage for a super long time and have all of this experience growing together before we start our family, but I knew that I could provide her with a loving atmosphere and home, so I just knew that I wanted to keep her. Were you intending to get pregnant? No, we weren't planning it at all. We didn't do it on purpose, and I'm being honest. Some people think that we did plan it because everything has worked out so smoothly, but there has been bumps in the road, and we had to take a year off of schooling this year. It was definitely never in our plans. Do you regret it? I get this question a lot, and I always say I never regret having Bria, but I wish that we had waited longer. When I envisioned my life, I always envisioned getting married and spending like 5 or 6 years with my husband, just the two of us, before we had kids, and building our relationship and going on fun trips and saving our money and buying a house and being well educated and having great jobs. And so it was hard kind of watching that vision of my life go away. But having said that, Bria is the biggest blessing in my life, and I don't regret it because I got her and I love her so, so much. Were you ever scared? Yes, I was so scared. I'm always nervous about what people are thinking about me. In our church, people can be very judgmental over these things because, like I said before, because you're supposed to wait until after marriage to have relations like that. So yeah, I was so scared, like putting it up there and telling my young women leaders, and people constantly asked us why we were getting married so early and judged us about it. And I don't think it was their place at all. Being a teen mom has taught me that I should not judge anyone else because I don't know what they're going through, and people don't know what I'm going through either. Are you planning on having more kids? Yes, we are. Right now the plan is to wait until after we've both gotten our bachelors. Jackson wants to be a lawyer, so that's going to be a lot of schooling, so we've decided that after his bachelor's we'll probably be ready for another kid. I always wanted to have my kids super close together in age, so having that like 4-year age gap is really killing me, but it'll be okay. I think they'll still be super best friends. I've always wanted a lot of kids. I want 6 kids. So we'll see what Jackson says about that. So far he said we'll think about it. But I love kids, and I've always wanted to be a mom, so that has that many kids has just been so appealing to me. Did getting pregnant influence marriage? Jackson and I dated for, it was like a year and a half, and about a year into dating, we had started talking about marriage, and we decided that we did want to get married even before I got pregnant. Basically, we were planning on getting married during college. He was planning on going on a mission for our church, and we were planning on getting married after that. So I would say the pregnancy fast-forwarded marriage. It didn't, we didn't feel like we had to get married because we got pregnant, and even my parents and his parents told us that, we're not forcing you to get married or anything. We just want you to do what you guys feel is best, and that's what we felt was best for our situation, since we already had that love for each other and we knew that we wanted to be together. We just felt like the next step was to get married. How did your family react? I kind of already talked about this. My parents were both super supportive, obviously very shocked. My brothers were very shocked. I told them in May, but they thought it was an April Fool's joke. Obviously it wasn't because it was May, but yeah, they definitely did not believe it. So, how did you find the courage to tell your parents? I've always been super close to my mom. Telling her was super hard, even though we did have that strong relationship and strong bond. We've always talked about everything, so I'm not sure why it was so hard, but I knew that I had to get it out sooner or later because there was a baby growing inside of me, and like, that's a really big deal. The hardest part was telling my dad. I don't have as strong of a relationship with him as I do with my mom. It's still really strong, but just not in the same way that my mom's and mine is. And so I was grateful that Jackson was there with me when I told my dad. What was the hardest part? Definitely swallowing my pride and telling everyone. It got to the point, I think in late August or September, where I was showing pretty, like, you could tell I was pregnant, and I remember thinking that I had to post on Instagram because you can't hide having a baby from people. It's too big of a thing to hide. So I definitely think the hardest part was swallowing my pride, posting on Instagram, and I remember when I posted on Instagram, I turned off commenting on that post because I did not want to hear people's comments. Some people have been really judgmental and others have been really supportive. I have made relationships with other teen moms, and it has been awesome because we're both going through the same thing, and it has just been such a blessing in my life. But I have also gotten people who say that I glorify being a teen mom and that they don't support my decisions, and that's okay. It's my life, it's not theirs. I felt like getting pregnant when I was a teenager, I was disappointing my parents, and I was disappointing my young women leaders and my church and my school teachers. I think that the hardest part was the pride and the disappointment that I felt about myself and and that I felt from other people. Did you have to adjust anything, living, jobs? Up until I got pregnant, the plan for me was to go to BYU, Idaho. And I was already enrolled there. I was looking at dorm rooms to rent out. Jackson was getting ready for a mission, and he was planning on doing that. He wasn't sure when he was going to turn in his papers and everything, but he was planning for it. And then I got pregnant, and it was like college kind of disappeared. I probably could have still gone to college, but I knew that would be really hard to go. We talked about moving up to Idaho for a little bit so that we could both go to BYU, Idaho. But we decided that because it was during COVID and jobs were kind of unstable, we didn't want to be too far away from home and from our parents in case anything bad happened, like we lost our jobs and couldn't pay bills or anything. So we moved into Jackson's parents' house, and we're still here. We live in the basement, and they're wonderful people to live with, by the way. On the job side of things, Jackson got a job working at a grocery store. I got a job at Jackson's mom's dance studio. To wrap this video up, it definitely was never easy being a teen mom, and it still isn't. It's definitely not easy being a teen mom, but I would not trade Bria for the entire world. She is just the most precious thing to me, and she means everything to me. I hope I answered your guys' questions. I'm very grateful for your love and support on this topic. It's a pretty hard one. Anyone can reach out to me if you're going through the same thing or something similar. I am an open book, so ask me any questions, DM me on Instagram, whatever you guys need to feel comfortable. Thank you for watching this video, and I will see you on our next video. Bye!